I have a big question. So why is it that some people seem to have everything they want and so many others are lacking? Lacking in enough money, lacking in enough free time, let's say, or leisure, lacking in relationships, lacking in love, lacking. What is it that causes some people, of course there's a situation where you're born into luxury or something, but I mean, let's say two people start from the same place in life. Why do some end up living in a way that they have everything they could possibly dream of come true, and others lacking, wanting? So, the interesting thing is that if you are in a state of wanting, I want to make more money, I want to start a company, I want to start a band, I want to travel the world. If you find yourself in a state of wanting, what you attract is the state of wanting that. On the other hand, if you declare to yourself in your own mind, and I'm talking about your own mental stories, if your inner dialogue in your story is I am an entrepreneur, I am rich, I have enough money, I am earning enough money, I am traveling the world, I am attracting perfect love into my life, then the universe responds. Think about the example of a beggar. There's a beggar at the grocery store just across the street from where I live, and I've seen him, I don't know how long he's been there, but for the past year and a half or so, he's been there almost every day. Young guy, perfectly, apparently capable. He looks healthy enough, yet he stands outside the grocery store every day asking for money. He's in a state of wanting money, asking to receive money. And that's where he stays. Imagine the situation where a beggar would change from asking, do you have a euro, to what can I do for you? What would happen if one day a beggar decided to greet everyone with, is there anything I can do for you, sir, ma'am? What do you think would happen? Do you think that person would stay a beggar for very long? Might there be one person that comes along and says, well, since you mention it, I'm hiring a cook for my restaurant, and if you can cook, come on. Or if you don't know how to cook, I'll teach you, right? So immediately the state of wanting is shifted to a state of giving. The only way to attract what you want into your life is to give. Whatever it is that you are lacking, be that. If you're lacking in generosity from people, be generous. If you're lacking in the right kind of romantic relationship, give the right kind of romantic relationship. You go first. Even if the person walking by has $1 million and the beggar has nothing, the beggar is far better off offering to give than asking to receive. I learned this in my business for the past several years. I run a business development or sales agency, and in the very beginning, I guess when I was more dominated by the ego, I would worry about trusting customers. I would want payment up front if possible. I would be a little bit nervous about spending too much of my time and money to run a campaign before I was paid. I expected the worst from people, and I asked for, and I tried to manipulate what I wanted. And naturally, as you can imagine, I didn't provide the best service. I lost some customers. And as I went through my awakening, I realized that I have to not only be giving and generous with customers and trusting, I have to love my customers. If we want abundance in our lives, we have to act as though we love. We have to love every single person. The way to attract abundance is to love. I know it might sound strange, but love in business, what does that mean? It means that you would give anything without any calculation for what you're about to receive. Now, it's fair to set a price. You can have a standard price and you can say, hey, this is what's fair and this is what I need to keep the lights on and all this. But at the end of the day, the terms and the relationship, it's a relationship. And the way that you receive is to give. If you think about, when do you give to people? Do you give to people when they are demanding, or do you give to people when they are generous? When someone's offering you something, or someone has offered you a favor in the past, you're much more likely to give. So when you are giving of yourself, you are going to receive abundance in return. And that shouldn't be the reason why you're giving. The reason why you're giving is because it makes you happier, it makes you fulfilled, and just feel better immediately. So the reason I bring this up is that, as you might know from my other videos, I am creating a blockchain startup. It's called InfoBeing, and we're creating an app called, or a dApp called I Am. And I chose the word I am. For many years, I thought that I would use I want, right? So let me explain. So what this application does, and this is not a pitch, I'm just explaining the background here. What this application does is it connects people. Okay, so one person might say, I am working as an English teacher looking for a summer job in Italy. The next person comes along, some other person comes along who is in Italy and says, I'm looking for an English teacher for the summer. And those two people meet. And it's important that we're using the word I am, because that puts the person in a state of mind of being, a state of being where they already are that. I am working as, even though you're not working as, I am building this startup. I have received funding, even though I haven't technically in a spectrum of time received funding yet. It's already happened. This thing is already there. It's my intention, and so that it already is. And therefore, when it already is, you can enjoy the process without any kind of fear, without any kind of negative emotion. So imagine that, let's take a year or two into the future, let's say this kind of app does exist, which it will, and you have, what if you had, what are the limitations people have? Are people limited by technical reasons? Less and less so. That might have been true historically. But these days, even the internet, the way that it is now, as imperfect as it actually is, we are not limited so much by technology, but by ourselves. We're limiting our own abundance. So just imagine there's this application that you can meet anybody based on who you are, what you're doing, what you want to do, let's say want. And then you can earn money in that same application. You can communicate with people, you can form relationships, and you can basically, you have total freedom to do whatever you want to do. Is that going to be enough just to release this application out into the world? Is that going to solve the issue of lack? Is that going to create prosperity and abundance for everyone immediately? No, it won't. Because we are the cause of our own lack of abundance, our own scarcity, our own not having, our own staying in a state of fear and wanting. So let's talk about what needs to change. Let's say you have this application. Let's say you can meet anybody, you can do anything, you can earn any amount of money doing whatever you want to do, which is kind of true today even without this application, but this just makes it a lot easier. Okay, so let's say this exists. Okay, so what's holding someone back from making a bunch of money and living their dreams? Fear, pride. You might not want to extend yourself to someone who you don't yet trust. So therefore, that person doesn't extend himself to you. Therefore, nothing happens. You might be in a state of trying to get. So you're trying to screw somebody else. Basically, you're trying to negotiate only what's good for you, not creating a win-win. Maybe you're not being open with somebody, you're not being generous, you're not paying them a fair amount for what you want done to get you to where you need to be. Okay? And let's talk about how you might use this application or any kind of dating site that already exists for meeting the love of your life, if you believe there is one love of your life. How many people, anybody who's been on a dating site or has gone on dates and met people, how many people claim to want something that they're not giving? They're judging. They're not loving unconditionally. They are looking around and they're secretly they're dating other people or whatever it may be. They're not treating you that well because they're not sure you've earned it yet. Well, earned it. So you're supposed to go first, right? But let's say you do go first with this person and they don't know, they still don't change their state of relationships. They still shame you, guilt you, try to control you, don't trust you, don't forgive you, are angry with you, make your life hell. And then they're surprised when you treat them the same way or you leave them, and then they can play victim. Okay, so you see how the state of what you're willing to give in a relationship determines completely what you get. And that's true in love, that's true in business, that's true in any creative pursuit, that's true in anything you do. Be what you're lacking. Be it already. No one's stopping you. Any of these negative emotions I just described are from the ego. Okay? The ego is possessing the vast majority of people and preventing the kind of abundance that they actually want, that their spirit, their souls actually want. So when you drop the ego, you realize that you already have everything. There's nothing holding you back. You were born with abundance. The universe is abundant. And you just have to go out there, take those phone calls, go to those meetings, go to the tryout, meet a new person, take a chance, smile, love everyone, do good things for people, and you're going to have your life come into such abundance you don't even know what. It just every day is an exciting adventure. Okay, so what's going to happen, if there's going to be a transformation, if there's going to be a shift toward this world of worry and fear and jobs that are going away and not enough money and disease and all these terrible things and war, there's going to have to be, the purpose of our lives is to make this shift to a decentralized way of living in freedom and peace and prosperity. And so that's going to involve technology, and it's going to involve a transformation that each of us have to go through. That's why you are on this planet, for your soul to be put in this human experience. You are a spiritual being having a human experience, not the other way around. And you're here to learn how to identify with that true essence of who you are, despite all the shit that goes on in this world. But you're not going to notice that. You're going to be looking at the beauty in the world, and you're going to be experiencing nothing but peace, abundance, and everything wonderful. And so that's what the point of my life is to connect people, yes, but what's the point of connecting people if the relationship they form is not beneficial and not wonderful and beautiful? So that's the point, is creating abundance, and the way to do that is through harmonious, wonderful, loving relationships, as many as you can have with as many people as you can. And the better you become, the more talented you, the more you let yourself shine and your skills and talents and passions and interests, you're going to meet people just like you who are also learning how to do that. You're going to grow together. You're going to do amazing things. Your life's going to be this huge adventure. And that's what this is all about.